allow my colleague to introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Rob Kellner. Some of y'all know me as Rob the American.
Surely not.
Yeah. All right, settle down, crowd. The heat's gotten to their heads already. Listen, and when Nick says that, we really appreciate y'all coming, and I know this is not ideal. We had such a great venue, and we had it all set, and we had a bunch of tickets sold, and it was just going to be amazing. And you know, this kind of came out of nowhere. I run a group, and I had met Nick at a Free Speech Union event that he was speaking, and I said, Nick, I run this group, would you be interested in speaking? And before I could even get that out of my mouth, he said yes. And he came and talked. He was a big hit. And then I guess you were running for an office or something.
For mayor.
And asked, because I live in the city center, and he said, would you sign your thing? And I said yes. And in my mind, I was thinking I wanted to do something.
I didn't understand that.
Easy!
Rob, you're going to have to bring it down a level. Explain it to the tech.
You people suck. Anyway, I know some people don't like foreigners. Anyway, stealing y'all's jobs. And so I ran a small group called Canceling Cancel Culture, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But in my mind, I knew that I wanted to do something bigger. And in my mind, I wanted to have an event in a big venue and have speakers come and really talk about free speech. That's what I'm all about. And I ran it past Nick. I said, Nick, I'm thinking I want to have this event, and I have a place. Would you be interested? And just like the first time, he said yes. And then what happened after that? 2 seconds after that.
Let's help organise it. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, Would you like some help organizing it? And that's how that came to be, and that's how this came to be. Now, it wasn't supposed to be this, obviously, but that's how we're all sitting here right now. So,
yeah, just some housekeeping before we start. Toilets are downstairs under the stairs. Feel free to leave anytime you want to go to the toilets or get another drink. Don't wait in case we have a break, because then 100 people trying to get served at the bar. So just go anytime you want to go. That's no reflection on the speakers, so the speakers won't feel hurt that you've gone in their section. We're due to finish at 3, but we're all staying for the next couple of hours later because we've got this room all evening, so people will be staying. Some of the speakers
we
may
go
be
outside.
staying.
If it stays dry, there's a nice
outside,
patio bar and stuff like that for the smokers and drinkers and stuff.
Yeah, so no more waffle from us. Let's get into the speeches, because that's what you're here for, and it is very hot and cloudy, smuggy in this room. So I'll introduce you to Bob.
Yeah. All right, guys, so I've already introduced myself. And again, thank y'all for coming and putting up with this, and I appreciate it. These are not ideal conditions and stuff like that. So you'll see on some of the tables, you'll see a little slip. I don't know if I kept one up here. That's a slip that says "Canceling Cancel Culture." And yeah, thank you. He's holding up right there. I don't know if there's enough for everyone, but please feel free to take that home. And what that is, it's a group that originally started with my good friend Mike over here. It started off as a Jordan Peterson group, and then it evolved into something else. And it was really about cancel culture and what has been going on all around us, that started off in America and has kind of made its way to this country. And America's great. And listen, some of the good stuff comes over here, like Halloween. And some of the, what? Anyway, but some of the bad stuff comes also, and some of this cancel culture stuff has made its way over here, unfortunately, and seems to have taken over. So, by all means, take one of those, and we would love to have more people come. We get interesting speakers, and we meet once a month up in this room, and it's usually not quite like this. So a little bit about me. I've lived in Manchester for 10 years. I'm not some tourist passing through, and I've lived in the UK since 2006. And I came originally in 2006. I was accepted to do a PGCE for those teachers to get a teaching certificate here, and I did it in Belfast. And I lived there from 2006, 2007, which I loved, and I ended up staying, but coming over to England. And at that time, I thought, we all speak English. How different can it be? I didn't know anything when I came over here. But the ignorance actually worked in my favor, because if I had known how different things really are, I probably wouldn't have come. I didn't know what a GCSE was. I didn't know what an A level or an O level. I'd never heard anything like that. So you can imagine what I went through when I'm surrounded by people that grew up in this system. So I was very naive. And I got a job in Greater Manchester, and I was given a form class, what we Americans call homeroom, of year 9. So that's what, 13, 14, something like that. The teachers in here will know. And just to show you how naive and ignorant I was, each week our forms would be given a topic. So it might be charity, and the forms had to talk about charity and come up with a project. It might be about racism, so they research racism. So this one time, I was just given the word, and it said grooming. And I thought, that's kind of weird, it's kind of personal, but okay. So I went in there, all thinking, okay, this is going to be easy enough. So I went there, okay, y'all, today, our topic this week is grooming. Now, it's really important that as you get older, that it's good to, personal hygiene is so important. So you have to, brush your hair and clean your teeth and make sure. And does anybody have horses in here? Because horse grooming is really important too, because you have to brush the mane and all this kind of stuff. And the kids are all looking at me like, and some girl in the back raised her hand and she said, "Sir, I don't think that's what it means, grooming." And I said, "Yes, it does." And she said, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Yes, it does." And so they started arguing with me, and I said, "Well, y'all hold on a second." So I went to the class next door, and I said, to talk to my teacher pal, and I said, "Grooming, isn't that about keeping neat and tidy and stuff?" And she looked at me like I was an idiot, which I was. And she says, "You dummy, grooming is not that. Let me explain it to you." So she's explaining it to me. My eyes are getting like this, I'm sure. And I'm thinking, oh, that's not anywhere close to what I was thinking that is. I just never heard that term used in that context before. So I marched myself back into the room with my tail between my legs, and I said, "I tell you what, y'all, let's just skip grooming and let's have some fun word games for the rest of the week." And they're like, "Yay!" So we never did anything like that. But I did learn what grooming is at that point. But that just goes to show how different the cultures can be. Now, we live in a very different time now than we did when I started here, and we're living in an age now where, for the first time in the West that I know of, where compelled speech is becoming the norm. And I think a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. Things that we know that knew to be true 5 minutes ago are no longer true. And I could go through a list of those things. And there's only one worldview is allowed these days, and one opinion. Otherwise, you get called all the names. You get called all the names, and all the haters come at you. And it's crazy. It's when did 2 + 2 = 4 become a racist thing? I missed that one. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Since when is a 7-year-old girl who can't figure out what her favorite ice cream, all of a sudden she's a boy? And not only she's a boy, but all the adults around her are like, "Yeah, you're a boy." I don't get it. I miss that memo. I mean, it's just crazy. And friends say to me, "Rob, look, you're getting older. You have a good life. You've got a good family. You've got good friends. What are you doing all of this stuff? What are you doing all this stuff for?" And I think to myself, I don't know why I'm doing this for. My brother, who's about my age, he's, I tell him, I said, he says, "Rob, I agree with you." I said, but I just want to go fishing. And you know what? I don't blame them. I want to go fishing. I want to hang out with my family and stuff like that. But I want to live in a world where truth matters, where truth is truth, and we live by the truth. That's the only way I know how. So it's really about controlling speech and controlling language. And everybody knows the truth, and that's why they have to silence us. And the minute that the truth is allowed, they are exposed. And that's why social media has to silence you. I was kicked off. I was suspended from Twitter for hate speech. Somebody turned me in for hate speech. And you'll never guess what I said that was so hateful. I said 3 words. 4 words, sorry. 4 words. I teach English. I don't teach math. Men are not women. Yeah, this one. Men are not women. Well, in what world is that a hateful thing to say? But that's where we are now. And when we see how YouTube and Twitter will demonetize and suspend you if you dare speak against that one opinion. I mean, I'm sure some of you know when President Trump was kicked off social media a couple of years ago. He was kicked off a couple of years. I had some British friends. They were all like, "Yeah, that guy's so gross and disgusting and this and that." And I said to them, "Y'all are crazy." I said, "You think this is a good thing, but this will come back to bite you because they're going to kick people off and they're going to start with Trump and they're going to start with other things, but it will eventually work its way down." And I could see it so clearly, and so many people I knew could see it clearly. And that's where we are. And that's where we are. So. YouTube, they can't let free speech reign because they know if they allow true free speech, their woke fantasies will collapse like a house of cards. And I've paid a price for it, for my speaking out. I'm sure some of y'all have too. I have my best friend of 30-something years sent me an email, said, "Rob, I can't be friends with you anymore." And I said, and I called him right away. He sent me this email. I mean, how do you break up with a best friend of 35 years over an email? And I said, "What do you mean you can't be friends with me anymore?" And he says, "You've changed." He said, you say all this stuff and you post all this and all this. And I said to him, "I'm the same goofy person. You and I, we hang out together. We do everything together because I just can't be around it. I can't deal with it." And I said, "But that doesn't change us." And I said to him, "I don't have 35 years left to make a new best friend." And that's the last time I spoke. That's the last time I spoke to him. It's the last time. And my story is not unique. Families have broken up over this kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, and then some of y'all know I was with. That's all right. Some of y'all know. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Some of y'all know that I was, what happened to me in a pub in Greater Manchester in November. It's been documented, it's been filmed. I was at a pub with some friends, some guys, and we were chatting and talking about politics and all, just nonsense and stuff like that. And somebody at the pub called the police on us. No. We weren't drunk, we weren't loud, nothing. And somebody called the police on us. And I don't know if you'd be surprised, this is a Saturday evening, 2 police officers came. Two. Your language is problematic, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, but that's where we are. And I went after them. I filed complaints, I did this and then that. And I was so disappointed in one sense because I had some friends who said, "Rob, aren't you scared? Aren't you worried?" And I said, "No, I'm not scared. I was raised, listen, I'm from a small Texas town. I was raised that the police are our friends. That if you ever have any problem, that's what you do. And that's what the cops are there for. And that's my mindset. If that makes me naive, so be it." But it was shocking to me. It was shocking to all of us. And that seems to be where we are. And what's that?
What was it?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, but listen, I'm just conscious of time. I want a couple of things. Freedom is a burden. Okay? Freedom is a burden. And what I mean by that is that my belief is that we are all responsible for our own lives. Okay? We're responsible for our families. We're responsible for the good things, the bad things that we do. Okay? That's what freedom means to me. It means you can screw up. But a lot of people think that the government is the solution, that the government is the answer, that they'll keep you safe and they'll keep you happy. Well, I think the last 2.5 years, we've learned that the government doesn't do that. You can look at what's happened in other countries, in Austria, in Australia, in New Zealand, in California. Don't get me started on California. I've got cousins here, so it's really hard. But that's where we are, and we live in a messy, uncomfortable, often cruel world, and that's just real life. It'd be difficult to get out without being offended. And you know what? There's no right not to to be offended. There is no right. If somebody says to you, I'm offended by what you say, and you just say, be offended, and walk away. You know, congratulations, you're offended. I'm offended by lots of things, but I don't call the police. That's for sure. So anyway, to speak out means that sometimes you'll lose family members and friends, like I said. But you know what? I can sleep at night. I've made a lot of new friends. I've made the groups that I've been working with and stuff like that. I've rebuilt my friendships. I've rebuilt it, and I may not have 35 years, but I'm gonna drag it out as long as I can and drag as many people with me as I can. And you know, but just remember that if you dare speak out, that the mob will come after you. Just remember, dogs don't bark at parked cars. Okay? Dogs don't bark at parked cars. Think about that. Think about that. Don't be one of those parked cars. I'm not saying you have to go out of your way, but don't be silent when you know you should say something. And I know Nick is going to give us some tools later on, some ideas and stuff like that. But I'm going to leave you all with this. Those who want to win will always beat those who want to be left alone. And it's true. And the woke folks and those kind of folks, they want to win badly. They want to win badly. And you can pretend and you can bury your head in the sand, but I'm telling you, they'll come after you. You can only be awoke enough. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be scared. It's okay for your heart to beat quickly. I live my life if y'all knew me from before, I have lived my life in fear as a boy and a young man and as a young adult. I was afraid of everything. And the fact that I'm up here speaking, it shows you how I have fought that fear. So if you think I'm too afraid and I can't say anything and all that, know that when I'm talking to the police and when I'm doing all this kind of stuff and acting brave, my heart's beating on the inside. But I know I've got to do it because I can't live with myself if I don't. And that's really how we're going to beat this, because we are going to beat this. The tide is turning. The Americans are fighting back. The Brits will eventually get there, but I'm telling you, the Americans are fighting back. No disrespect. Listen, I love this country. I've made England my home. I could go back to Texas tomorrow. But I love it here. I love it there too. I love both, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have both places as my home, and I love it here too. And I want to fight for what I believe in, and I think it's so important. And let me just say this: when you walk out of here, think of things that you can do. I mean, be prudent and everything. Don't be foolish, but don't be silenced. They only will silence us and cancel us if we let them. So don't let them. Thank y'all very much for listening.